So here we go, it's called the CoExistence. And do you want me to express why they actually have it to put carved wooden elephants out there? It's only because everybody who lived up around Cadogan Square or Cadogan Gardens may have actually taken their habitat and built their little ranches and farms and estates and holiday homes out in the African sub-Saharan, and now they kind of bring the elephants to Cadogan Garden here at the North Gardens as part of the CoExistence herd. The story is actually to explain that the crowded planet that affects the human encroachment, well, it did not have an encroachment in the old times. You went out, you got into the middle of the wildlife in Asia, in Africa, in subcontinent of Sub-Sahara, South America, and so on. And the wild space was just exhumed because of your greed for minerals and resources. Even today, the 7 nations from the European continent, likes of France, Germany, Italy, Belgium, Britain, who else? Spain. They're all actually still got their hands on the African continent. Plus, they've also got the Chinese have now kind of got their hands on the African continent. And if not, don't forget, the Turks are needing of natural resources and need their hands on the African continent as well. At the same time, the Americans have been eyeing for it with all the policies and procedures and all sorts. And that, having said all of that, they've all fighting for the African continent, not for the good of the Africa. It is just that Africa is able to get everything. You can extract all your raw materials and go out and live out in your holiday homes in the savannah for relaxation, whilst what you don't want, you then dispatch in bales into the African continent to dress them up with your old clothes and use Africa as a, what you call, the penny collection or charity collection affair. This is the most crooked and most twisted idea that the humans have learned to live with. And with this approach to life, we will not have a nature, we will not have life, we would not have what we call the coexistence, possibility of coexistence of any species on this planet, because as human beings, we have fouled up like never known before in human history. Today, it is coming to the surface because everyone is questioning to a point that it's kind of very much putting humans to, well, the old habits is surfacing, and suddenly they're now becoming the ambassadors and sort of what we call ambassadors and peacemakers, so to speak. Anyway, the coexistence of living beings and makes our world a magical. The coexistence doesn't exist anymore because humans don't even know how to walk on the simple pedestrians don't know how to walk on the sidewalk anymore, because they either bounce onto you or they come with their shoulders bounce onto you, thinking they've got the whole payment to themselves. How can you coexist? The magic of the planet is actually lost in the logic of the human stupidity through education. And here we go. From the tigers and the badgers to the nightingales and elephants. And each elephant is carefully handcrafted from a natural plant material called Lantana camara, an invasive species that can be damage ecosystem and is toxin to grazing animals. Now who come to determine that the Lantana camara is an invasive species of plant or trees that is toxic, and it's toxic to the grazing animals, but the human beings are the most toxic to every species of life on this planet. It's not for you to determine who should exist and which plant to exist and which plant is not to exist. This is the most convoluted, twisted, most aberrant of constructions that humans have come up with. And with this idea that you can decide as which life is significant, which species of plant and trees are significant, for you to root out and destroy and carve elephants out and come up with what we call the coexistence. Go back to the drawing room, or go back to the nature of life. The nature and the coexistence is actually for us to see the way life blossoms, and not for us to decide which plant to be grown and which plant to be harvested and been transformed into carved elephants. You can spot the Chelsea herd for 50 life-size elephants migrating through the neighborhood from the 17th of May to 6th June. And that's the way the human beings have behaved these days. I hope I've said enough, and I'm sure you've got the message. And look up. Don't look down. Don't look the way things are, and don't come up with artisan ideas and explain and express the reason and the meaning of why these carved elephants have come up, propped up here at Cadogan Garden, North Cadogan Gardens, which is also private, and coexistence is only for the ones who pretty much pilfered, or should I say loot, from the planet and live and come to live out here, now trying to express the meaningless, most twisted ways to express how a life and species should exist on this planet.